Hi, everybody. I hope I'm live now. I just failed to make it work on the computer, so I moved to the phone. So I don't know if anybody's here yet. I haven't really announced that I'm going live, but I wanted to go live today from Rwanda. Hey, hi Henrik. Hi Henrik, welcome to Rwanda. Thanks for joining. My fantastic. Cheers.
Cheers.
So welcome to Rwanda. The benefit of being live on the phone is that I can actually move around, but I'll try to keep the phone a little bit still so it's not too shaky. But let's see how it works. I can actually even take you with me outside. It's been raining all afternoon, so it's a little bit wet. Hello, Eric. Nothing much to see other than just a bit wet roads, but just down there, right there, is Lake Kivu, which is in the northwestern part of Rwanda. Hello from Holland. Hello, Tamara. And it's actually right on the border to DRC. It's just like, I think, 10 kilometers away from DRC, so it's pretty cool. And it's nice to be live with you guys. It's the first time that I go live, so thanks for joining. That's really nice. I just arrived in Rwanda yesterday, so we've had one night in Rwanda. When I say we, it's because I'm here together with Martin. You might know him as Overlander No Coriander, because apparently he hates coriander. I'm trying to put it in all his meals, but yeah, he's not having it. Anyways, we are enjoying just a chill day here at this little lovely guest house. I actually want to just show you around in the guest house. It's quite nice. So here is kind of the lounge and bar. And here are the people taking good care of us. Hello. Over here is Martin. Hello. And out here in the backyard, the bikes are parked. And it was so cool because this morning, hello Debs, welcome. This morning when we woke up, my bike looked like this. Completely clean. It's never been this clean. So the guard here, he spent 2 hours washing our bikes. It was unbelievable. Wasn't that kind of him? So it just looks completely new, and that's after all the dusty roads in Uganda. So that was pretty cool. So Martin's bike is parked here. And if you don't really know Martin, he is traveling in Africa for 9 months now. Also started from South Africa, just like me. And he is also traveling on a Honda CRF 250L, same year as me. So we quite often talk to each other about different things, issues with the bikes or whatever we need to discuss. Then he would be the first one I write to. So that's pretty cool. And so we met up 2 days ago in southern Uganda. And then it was really cool to ride with him and then cross the border together with him. So I just want to show you my room and what kind of guest house we are staying at here in Rwanda. It's quite cheap. It's only $12. Sorry, it's getting dark here. I'll turn on the light. So here is my little room. it's quite nice, I have to say. There's everything you need. There's a mosquito net, which is the most important because there's a lot of mosquitoes, and I don't want to have malaria again. There is a nice little toilet, a bath. Hot water is no guarantee, but who cares? So that's pretty nice. Yeah, just like nice and basic, nothing fancy, but that's actually really cool to stay in a place like that. So this is country, I think, number 35 or 36. I lost count, but this morning I just added a few stickers to the bike. So I added the Uganda and the Rwanda flag to Honey. And I hope you all like her new white looks. I'm quite in love with her. Good morning. Who's there from Massachusetts? Let me see, I need my glasses. I'm that age, you know, I need glasses to read. That's how it is. So Honey is holding up really well. I have to say, I'm super impressed with her. Yeah, she's just doing really well. And I can't really say anything that needs work at the moment. She's just, yeah, she's a good girl. She's doing what she needs to do. It's been raining all day, and fortunately my bags are waterproof, so I didn't really care to even take them inside. So that's pretty cool. I don't really know how long I'm gonna be here in Rwanda. I never plan too much, but I'm very excited about tomorrow, because then Martin and I are gonna ride a trail called the Congo Nile Trail, which is a trail that will take 2-3 days, and it runs along Lake Kivu. And I don't know why it's called Congo Nile Trail, because it has nothing to do with Congo or the Nile, but we will be able to look over at DRC. So maybe that's where the Congo part comes from. And then the Nile, I don't know, it's nothing to do with the Nile. But it's just a name, it doesn't matter. You should look it up, Congo Nile Trail. And that's going to be really exciting. And I don't think that I would really dare to do it alone. So I'm really excited to be able to do that together with Martin. And it's also fun. And I expect that we're going to have quite a few beer together the coming days, so that's nice. I am sorry about the drunk video that I uploaded to Facebook yesterday, but what do you do? Sometimes you just need beer. What can I say? So anyone who wants to hit me with some questions, you are more than welcome. I didn't really announce this live session today because I didn't know if I was going to have good enough network. So I'd say the last 3 weeks in Uganda have been really tough in terms of getting internet access. Like Facebook is illegal in Uganda, and most of the places I stayed, it was really bad Wi-Fi or just very unstable, and often there was also very bad network. So so that has made things a little bit difficult. But right now, I think the network is pretty good, so I hope that I go through pretty clearly for you guys. So who's here right now? Let me see. So Gallagher is here, Tamara is here, Debbie is here, Eric, are you still here? And Henrik, I think. Ha, and even Martin is here from the other room. He's sitting just right here next to me. Yeah, so let me know if you have any comments or any questions. I've been on the road now for, let me see, 2 years and six months. So that's pretty amazing. I want to check like how many days exactly. I have a little Excel sheet. Sorry, I'm an Excel girl. What can I do? I have been on the road for 823 days at the moment. And who is here? Ice Tea Green 90. Hi from Germany. Welcome. So yeah, it's been 823 days. I've been on the road on my Honda CRF 250L. Started in Copenhagen, went up to North Cape in the middle of COVID, and then came down to Europe, managed to get on a ferry to Morocco, got stuck in Morocco for 6 months, and something that in the beginning was a little bit frustrating, but actually ended up being quite the blessing, because it was just so cool. And I mean, you are on a dual sport bike in Morocco for 6 months, and that was just magical, really. So unfortunately, the whole west coast of Africa was still closed at that time, so most of the countries were closed. So when Morocco opened, it wasn't possible to ride down the west coast. So I had to give up on that plan. Then I kind of made an attempt to come down the east coast. That also didn't succeed. And then I ended up shipping from Rotterdam to Cape Town. So I thought, just get yourself to the southern part of Africa, because otherwise you're just never gonna make it to Africa. And so I did that, and then I started my journey from Cape Town in December 2020, and no, 2021, sorry. And so that means that I've been in Africa for more than, like the southern part of Africa, for more than a year now. Started in South Africa, did 3 months there. Then I visited, hey Robbie, you're welcome. Then I went to Lesotho, which is a small landlocked country which lies in the eastern part of South Africa. And then from there went to Swaziland, Mozambique, came back to South Africa. Unfortunately, Zimbabwe was still closed due to COVID at that point, so I couldn't visit Zimbabwe. So I went into Botswana. Then from there, I had a short trip into Zambia to meet up with a Danish friend who came down and joined me for a few weeks. Went back to Botswana because I'd kind of rushed through Botswana. Then from Botswana, I went to Namibia, did a big loop in Namibia, then went up and visited Angola, which was just really special because Angola is not a country that many people really visit. Some people that come down the west coast, they will just pass through Angola, but for many, it is not a place that you really visit. So Ice-T is writing, I love your adventures, thank you. Oh yeah, thank you. But after a month in Angola, I came back into Namibia again. I couldn't cross directly into Zambia because there are not really any border crossings between those two countries. Oh, Tamara, Zambia is your motherland. I absolutely adored Zambia. When I came back into Namibia, I rode along the Caprivi Strip and then crossed into Zambia from there. And then spent quite some time in beautiful Zambia. Then crossed into Malawi, enjoyed the Malawi lake, and came up through Tanzania, crossed into Kenya. And when I did that, I got a East African visa, which means that I can travel freely in Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, in those 3 countries for 3 months. And that's what I'm doing right now. And then from here, I'm gonna ship from Mombasa, Kenya, to Oman. And actually Martin, who's here in the next room, I'm just going to go in and say hi again for those of you who didn't see him. Hello, Martin.
Hello, everyone.
So he is actually being such a gentleman and arranging the shipping to Oman. So, oops, sorry, I almost dropped So we are going to be, I think, 5 or 6 bikes together in a container to Salalah in Oman. Salalah. I don't know if I say that right. Salalah, la 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 la, Salalah. Who's writing here? Ice Tea Green is writing. Hello, Martin. So that's going to be really exciting, and then I'm going to explore the Middle East. So I expect to go to Oman, then go to Dubai, then into Saudi Arabia, then Iraq, Turkey, and then back to Europe that way. Yeah, Africa is really welcoming and lovely. I agree with you. Thank you for that comment. I was maybe a little bit nervous and scared before coming to Africa, to be honest. And I don't really know why that is. I've been reflecting a lot on that. But I have only experienced kindness and really welcoming people, hospitable people. People have like big smiles and a lot of humor here. You always have fun with people during the day, and it's just really a beautiful experience to travel in Africa. And I haven't traveled the West Coast, on the West Coast, so I can't say how it's there now. The part of the West Coast I've done is Angola and Namibia, and that was really nice. So I'm quite in love with this continent, I have to say, and I'm already super sad knowing that I'm going to be leaving by the end of February. So, but you know, at some point this journey unfortunately has to end. Not that I wanted to, but honestly, I'm gonna run out of money at some point. So, and home is also nice, but if I had the funds, I would probably, when I got to Iraq, I would probably turn right and just head east through Iran and then head towards Pakistan, India, etc. I would really like that, but. You know, I've been on the road now for more than 2.5 years, and it is a costly affair. It does cost me around $50 per day to be on the road, and I don't really have an income. I just saved before I took off, and that's probably the question I get the most from people who write me is like, how much is this costing you? So. It is costing me about $50 a day. So that, of course, is a lot of money. And at some point, I'm just, you know, out of money. And then I have to go home and work again before my next adventure. So that's the reality. And that is also fine. It is wonderful to be traveling like this, but you know, it's not my entire life. I also have like a completely normal life back home, where I just work and live in my house and do weekend trips with the motorcycle and hang out with my friends and roller skate. I roller skate a lot at home, but I'm not, you know, able to travel like this all the time. But I've been very fortunate that I have been able to travel this long. It's really privileged to be able to do that. So, and it was super cool to head out during COVID, because it was a special experience that I don't think I would ever be able to have again. Like, I was in some parts of the world that are extremely touristy, like, for example, Marrakesh in Morocco, or Chefchaouen in Morocco, and there were just absolutely nobody there. Like, I was alone. And so to experience that was really special, I have to say. So, yeah, I feel very lucky that you know, it was a bit of a risky thing to take off during COVID. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do any kind of traveling, and I said to myself, the day that I took off, I said to myself, this might not work. I might be rejected at every border, and I'll just have to come back to Denmark, and then I'm just gonna travel around Denmark, which also would have been actually quite nice. But of course, it wasn't the plan. It was my dream to come down. The original plan was to travel up to North Cape and then come down the west coast of Africa and then ride home along the east coast through the Middle East and then come back to Europe, back to Copenhagen. So that was like the original plan. But obviously, I've had to change that many, many times. And if you'll excuse me, I just need a sip of my beer. Cheers, everybody. I know it's Sunday evening, right? So you guys might not be drinking beer tonight, but I am. Hi, bowling. Yeah, you are right. Without the risk, there is no reward, and I think you're right. That is a that is it's like a good mantra for many things. If you don't take any risks, it's Prost. Is it even worth it if it doesn't, you know, feel like really risky and like, oh, this is gonna be hard. For a real adventure, it has to be a little bit difficult. So who is? Oh, thank you, Robbie. So yeah, I can also share a little bit about how I live on the road. I tend to spend about 30% of my time in the tent, and then about 30% of the time I'm being hosted by locals. And then 30% of the time I stay in guest houses like this one. This one is $12 US. So it's really cool, and the food is quite cheap as well. Even the beer is quite cheap, so that's awesome. And on a day like this, I don't spend any money on petrol or anything else. So this is like financially a good day. Also, the days I'm being hosted, then obviously I don't spend any money on accommodation. But sometimes it can actually be, sometimes I actually spend more money being hosted because we end up maybe going for dinner, or we end up like I suggest that I do some cooking and then I buy all the groceries. And so for me, the cheapest option is to be in the tent where I cook for myself. That's actually the cheapest. But I find that the most fun is when I'm hosted by locals. That's like the really unique thing where you see how people live in the different places. And I like also the variety because being in the tent all the time is for me a little bit too much. And being all the time in hotels and guest houses just becomes a little bit boring and impersonal. So the mix with staying with privates and then tent and guest houses is really nice, I think. And I can always like dose it a little bit myself. Okay, so Bowling wants me to send the bike cleaning hero to his house. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I think he would be really happy about that, actually. So I find the combination 30-30-30 pretty cool. And then some people ask me, how do you get in contact with the locals? And that's actually a lot due to social media. So people who follow me, or just friends of friends, or yeah, it can be different things. The fact that I've been on the road for so long, it means that quite a lot of people know that I am on the road, and they message me and say, oh, when you get to Kenya, then I have a bed for you. And then I save that message. And in fact, sometimes I have way more invitations that I can even accept. And I know sometimes I even forget that somebody wrote me, and that can be a little bit embarrassing. So if someone is inviting you to his house and you don't even get back to them when you get to his city, it's actually not very nice. But there are quite a lot of people writing me, so I'm not always able to to just do what I would really love to do. It can be a little bit intense, and especially in periods where I have a bad network, and also because I don't really plan much. Like it's like after the trail that I'm gonna do now tomorrow together with Martin, the Congo Nile Trail along the Kivu Lake. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing after that. I make plans from day to day. Which is an extreme liberty, because it means that, let's say I meet a local person who's like, oh, you want to come stay with me and my family, then I just say yeah, and then I just stay a few days there. So that's a cool liberty to have, and something magical happens when you really don't plan much other than like a general direction. So that's pretty nice. I enjoy that kind of traveling because I have the amount of time that I have. Obviously, if you go on a 3-week trip, then you have a plan, obviously. But because I travel so slowly as I do, I don't really feel I need to make any planning. And I also, look, an example, the other day I was staying at Kalangala on an island in the Lake Victoria, and then a Dutch guy, Pim, who runs a motorcycle tour company in Uganda, he wrote to me and said, "Oh, we are coming to the island on Wednesday. Do you want to have a beer with us?" And so I met up with them. Him and his clients. They were 5 guys from Holland. Just a super fun group. And then I just tagged along with them the next day. I actually had planned to stay longer on the island, but because they were heading out the next day, I was like, oh, these guys are so much fun, I'm going to go with them. And Pim from this, the company is called UG Motorbike. He does some really cool riding, and he took us all on some trails that, I would never have gone on if it wasn't for him. And then he also, because he has a license to access the national parks, so then he invited me to tag along with them to ride through the Lake Mburo National Park, and to ride your motorcycles right next to giraffes and all kinds of antelopes. That is really cool. Robbie is commenting on the riding through the cities. Oof, that is intense. I did a huge mistake last week, last week. I rode from Jinja to Kampala, the capital of Uganda, on a Friday afternoon, and then I arrived because the traffic was so intense that the riding was so slow. So I arrived in Kampala like 8:30 in the evening, and it was on a Friday evening. It was insane, really. I was actually like really shocked, and I even got pushed into a ditch by a bus. And there they have these really deep ditches, and fortunately the one that I got pushed into wasn't too deep. So I was able to get up again, but it was super stressful because where I had to come up, there was so much traffic. It was like on a corner, and just like 30 centimeters to the left, there was a deep hole, like maybe, I don't know, like almost a meter deep or something. So I was just like, don't look there, like look where you want to go. But then I had to all the time look at all the oncoming traffic, and because it was a corner, there was just people walking, bicycles, bodabodas, the small motorcycles, and cars and buses, and from all sides. So it was just like, oh shit, how am I going to get up from here again? So yeah, the cities can be intense, but after Kampala, I think I can do anything, honestly. And I've been riding in Lima in Peru. That was intense. I've been riding in Guatemala City. So crazy. Nairobi is crazy. Marrakesh. So I think I've had my share of crazy cities, but Kampala was definitely for me. Also because Kampala is quite it's quite hilly, so and the roads are in such a bad condition. So you get this combination of hectic traffic, enormous potholes, and then you have these speed bumps, and the cars just slow down to zero over these speed bumps. But you gotta go because you gotta like keep a little bit of a momentum on the bike, and you have like all kinds of vehicles around you all the time that's trying to get ahead of you and in front of you and push you, and then at the same time the roads are super steep. So yeah, that was a bit much, honestly. So next time I go to Kampala, if there's going to be a next time, I'm gonna make sure I plan well and go there during daytime and not Friday night. So yeah, that was a little bit about the lack of planning and then the advantages of that. And also, I've just talked a little bit now about the budget, which is something a lot of people ask me about. And then a lot of people ask me about the bike, of course. I ride a Honda CRF 250L. It's a lightweight. Oh, Martin is riding. I see a trend with you and Dutch guys. Yeah, I have a thing for Dutch guys. I wonder what that is. I'm just joking. I can hear him laughing next to in the room next to me. I should add, I have a thing for young Dutch guys. Well, anyways, I have a thing for guys who ride a Honda CRF 250L. I think that's extremely sexy. Now I forgot what I was talking about. Don't do that, Martin. Sorry? Don't do that. What was I talking about, guys? Help me out here. Oh, Bowling is riding one as well. Yeah, Stuart is telling me to follow the Boroboros. Yeah, that's a good tip, and that's what I usually try to do. Either follow a Buddha but the thing is, the Buddhas can always squeeze themselves in the tiniest of places, and they usually have a death wish, which I don't. So I don't always dare to follow them, honestly, but I do it quite a bit. And sometimes I just glue myself onto a car or something and just just follow him. But yeah, it's always a challenge. So yeah, where was I? I am, for those of you who just joined, I am in Rwanda. I just crossed in yesterday to Rwanda. And honestly, it's been just an amazing experience to come here. Martin and I, we planned our border crossing really well yesterday. We went early in the morning, and we arrived at a good time at the border, and it was a very small border crossing. And usually I prefer to go to the smaller borders because they're just way less hectic and you have fewer fixes, and yeah, it's just easier. And so we got there, and it was pretty fast. We got checked out of Uganda. We got into Rwanda, and the thing that was different in Rwanda was that they checked us for Ebola. They didn't check us for Ebola, but they checked our temperature to make sure that we didn't have a fever. Hello, Grant. Welcome. Grant, where are you joining us from? Bowling. How long have you been following me? Because you just asked if I have learned to love the border crossings. Hey, Toto, welcome. So, Bowling, tell me how long you've been following me, as you are right now asking if I like the border crossings. And Grant, welcome from Manitoba. In Canada. I love Canada. So the reason why I ask you how long you've been following me is because I actually think that border crossings is one of my specialities. And I learned to love the border crossings when I did Alaska to Argentina. And when you have to cross, first you cross, of course, you have to access Alaska, then you cross to Canada, then the U.S. border. The U.S. border is always a little bit tough. Then Mexico, and then you come down to Central America, and you just have like a border crossing almost every day. And at that time, I was traveling with Lars, my ex-boyfriend, and my current very good friend, and we agreed that on the following rules: we cross in the morning, we make sure that we have water and something to eat. We expect that it's going to take a full day. Anything less than a full day is totally success. And we always have to make friends with like toothless old ladies or men who sell coconut juice or bananas or whatever, and we have to get really nice photos. So, and because of that ambition, we actually both started to enjoy the interactions, even with the fixers. It can actually be really nice. Hi, Toto. No, there hasn't been any. So Toto is asking if there's been any announcement to this live stream, and no, I'm sorry, there hasn't. There hasn't been any announcement. I was hoping to be able to upload my video, but I've been struggling in the last weeks with internet and just, in general. Uganda was quite tough when it came to good network and Wi-Fi. And so I couldn't prepare, so I thought, this is a really nice time. I just ended Rwanda. I finally got some fairly good network. I don't have Wi-Fi, but I have network right now. And I thought it would be a really nice chance to go live and talk to you this way. So welcome, Toto. I will next time announce it. The thing is, I never know whether I'm going to have a good network or not. It's especially the places I go, the places I like to visit and go, like I was at Lake Bunyoni the last few days in Uganda, and there was just really bad network there, like super bad, no Wi-Fi and really bad network. And I love those places, but that just means that it's really difficult for me to actually plan a live streaming. But back to the border crossings, I actually quite enjoy the border crossings. I find that you just gotta show up with a special. Hi, Bishop. Welcome from Malawi. You just gotta show up with a special attitude, and you gotta be kind, smiling, and patient. If you show up with a stressed Westerner, demanding efficiency and like, you're not going to have a good time, that's for sure. So I must say I often have quite good experiences at borders, and you usually get a few marriage proposals as well. I didn't get any yesterday though, and I really blame Martin. Overlander, no coriander. What's up with that? I did not get any marriage proposals yesterday. What's up with that? He didn't get any either. Actually, several thought that we were a married couple. So, so Stuart is saying, be complimentary about the country and you make friends. I think that is a very valid point in general. If there is anything that is maybe a little bit difficult or you don't understand at a border or something, so Toto is telling, Toto, welcome, come here and just do it better, okay? No, it's okay. Let me just see, what did Dr. Felix from Sumbawanga, where is Sumbawanga? I don't know. Anyways, I find that the difficulties that you might sometimes have at borders can be related to just, that you don't speak their language. And you got to be humble because you come as a guest to their country and you don't speak their language. So you can't expect people to speak English fluently. Here, they speak quite poor English so far. So that can be a challenge, and that is on you. You know, you are the one who chose to come here, and usually I just speak English to everybody, and that it's actually kind of a little bit rude that you just expect them to, and they will sometimes like apologize. Oh, I'm sorry, my English is a little bit bad, but hey, I'm the one visiting their country, right? So I think that's super. So Sumbawanga is 550 kilometers south of Kigoma. Well, welcome. And then we have Samdisen from cold Denmark. 3 degrees and windy, no sun. Yeah, that doesn't sound very nice. Here it's pretty cool, except for the fact it's been raining all day. And Martin and I are gonna ride the Congo Nile Trail along Lake Kivu tomorrow. So we are hopefully not getting too much mud due to all that rain today. But I find in general that after the rain, the sun dries up the roads pretty quickly. But we'll see how that goes. At least it's nice to know that we're together and that we're gonna be able to help each other if we get stuck in some mud somewhere or we drop the bike, which I hope is not gonna happen. Oh, oh, Aaron is watching come from Kafue, Zambia. Oh, I love that place. I love Zambia. It was really, really nice there. So Samdisen is asking if Rwanda seems to be a jungle country. Yeah, it is very, very green. But I would say it is jungle. There is parts of Rwanda is jungle, but a lot of it is farmland. A lot of people here are subsistence farmers. So it's like small farming and it's very mountainous here, and it's really cool because there's like a patchwork of small fields on all the mountains. So that's pretty cool. So Stuart asked if I stopped at the equator in Uganda en route to Mbarara. You know what? I didn't. I missed it. I didn't see it. So yeah, no. But I'm gonna have to cross equator again on the way back. So I have another chance. So I'm gonna do that. Yeah. That is pretty special, huh? How the water is turning one way on one side and the other way on the other side. I guess that's what you are referring to when you write that. Yeah. So Toto is asking if I have any expensive gorilla tours upcoming. Honestly, no. For me, you know, the riding the motorcycle is the attraction, and to ride the Congo Nile Trail tomorrow is something that I'm really looking forward to. I also hope to be able to do Lake Kariba. No. Martin, what lake are we riding to in Kenya? Turkana. God damn it, I forgot. How can I forget? Okay, we are gonna ride Lake Turkana together, I hope. So those are kind of the attractions that I am looking for. I don't really do a lot of you would say like the more usual tourist attractions. It can be nice, of course, but I'm here for the biking, you know, and riding off-road in remote roads and stopping in small villages and talking to the locals and yeah, so I'm gonna be missing out on the gorilla trekking. I mean, as I said earlier, you never know with me. I might change my plan tomorrow. So who knows? Yeah, it would definitely be cool, but it's not what I'm here to do. So yeah. Yeah. Aaron just said Lake Kariba is on the Zambia-Zimbabwe border. Yeah. Sorry. So Bishop is writing, hello, my dear. When are you coming to visit Blantyre and Malawi? So I didn't go to Blantyre, but I was in Malawi for quite a while, and I really, really liked it. I was spending several nights on the lake, which was just beautiful on the beach there. And then I did some nice riding up to the mushroom farm, which is quite a famous place to camp. And there's a really cool road up there that I did together with Mark, also a young, very nice guy from Holland. And him and we did that ride up there, which is like 21 switchbacks on a dirt road that is it's not Sani Pass level. I wouldn't say it's like difficult, but you got to be a bit focused. So yeah, we did that together, and then from there I headed north and entered Tanzania. So yeah, Malawi was really nice, but I did not go to a Blantyre. It's always a challenge, you want to see everything in each country, but you just can't. You just can't. That's how it is. Yeah. Yeah. So now I've talked a little bit about what kind of budget I have, and then maybe I can just add to the budget thing that the $50 that I spend per day has to cover everything. So, for example, right now I'm applying for a visa for Oman, and that's going to be $50. So that's a whole day's budget. So those $50 they have to cover insurance, both insurance for me, like medical insurance, also bike insurance. So Samdeesen is asking if I saw the source of the Nile, and yes, I did see that in Jinja. It was nice. You mean in Rwanda, maybe? Let me see if I can get the messages up again. No, I do not necessarily have a plan to see the source of the Nile in Rwanda. I did see it in Jinja in Uganda. Yeah. So the $50 have to cover everything. It has to cover my spare parts, repairs, new tires. So basically, everything: accommodation, food, flight tickets. I have to fly. So, it's important to not spend all of the $50 every day, because then there's not room for those bigger costs. And I find that each border in Africa costs around between 50 and $100, sometimes more. You also gotta pay for insurance for the motorcycle in the country that you visit. So there was a question here if I plan to go to Ethiopia. So that was the original plan. The original plan was to ride from Kenya into up to Ethiopia, then to Sudan, and then put the bike on a ferry from Port Sudan to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. That was the original plan. But about 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, Ethiopia implemented a new law that is blocking travelers with vehicles. So basically the rule is that, or the new law is that, in order to enter Ethiopia with a vehicle, you have to pay a deposit at the border in cash, in US dollars. That is 400% of the value of your vehicle from new. So just imagine that is just a crazy amount, and I don't even know where would you get that kind of cash in US dollars. And then when you leave the country, you're going to get that back in local currency. So from the day that they implemented that rule, which I think was in September or October, I can't remember now, no traveler has entered Ethiopia with a vehicle. So you can still fly in and you can still visit Ethiopia, but you cannot enter with a vehicle. Yeah, it's pretty much a no-go rule, as Samdeesen writes. It sucks because I think Ethiopia is a pretty cool country to visit. There is some tension there now. There is a war up in the northeastern part, and it's it is maybe not the coolest place to ride. It's, you know, it's very different to fly to a place and go with a tour operator directly to tourist resorts and stuff like that. But being on your own with a vehicle, traveling through country where there is things going on, it's a whole different experience. So, for example, if you fly like Nigeria, it's a lovely country. If you fly there and you explore it and you know you go the right places, but to travel with a vehicle through Nigeria, I mean, a lot of people do it, but you pretty much get the same reports that people are not really enjoying that. So yeah. So that's why Ethiopia is just pretty much a no-go. A lot of us have been like discussing, could you go through South Sudan? And I think it wouldn't be a problem to enter South Sudan from the south. But the northern part of South Sudan up towards Sudan is a bit of an issue. So Toto is writing or asking what is the price of petrol. I actually don't know. Have I even filled up petrol here yet? Yes, I have. I have. I don't recall what it cost. Sorry. I think it's probably quite a bit cheaper than Europe, though. Martin, do you remember the price of petrol here in Rwanda? He's right next door, so why not ask him?
Sorry?
Do you remember what a liter of petrol cost here in Rwanda?
About €1.40, something like that.
1.4 euro, about that. Yeah, that's the same in Europe, isn't it?
No, it's
less?
It's way less than the Netherlands. The Netherlands is expensive. I don't know.
Yeah, Denmark is expensive.
It's been a long time I've been in Europe.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So unfortunately, Ethiopia is closed for overlanders with vehicles at the moment. And it doesn't matter if it's a motorcycle or a car or a truck. So, and that's why a lot of people at the moment are shipping from Kenya to Oman, from Mombasa to Salalah in Oman. And I'm actually really, really excited to take on the Middle East. I don't know. I've always been a little bit nervous about the Middle East for probably the same stupid reason that I was nervous about Africa. But it was particularly after following a lady called Hele Biker on Instagram that I got really, really inspired to really do the Middle East. So I'm very excited about that. Yeah, that's gonna be a whole different adventure than Africa. But you know, once you've been to Africa, you know it's never gonna leave you. I will really, really miss this continent, and I feel I've even after spending this much time that I've just scratched the surface, and that I really have to come back and see much more. And you know, I'm bummed over the fact that I missed Zimbabwe, and I didn't spend much time in Mozambique, even if it was so wonderful there. I still have like 150 mountain passes in South Africa that I need to come back and do. If you're into remote mountain passes like I am, then South Africa is definitely the yeah, Stuart is writing, just come back to South Africa for one more loop. Yes, I agree. What a cool country. So Grant is asking if I've had any problem accessing my bank account and cash. I had a little bit difficulties in Angola. I really had to go and visit a lot of banks before I managed. So I got a bit nervous there. Yeah, because I just didn't know, you know, when am I gonna be able to access my bank account? But then after a while, I found a bank where it worked, and and then I just made sure to take out quite a lot of cash so that I had. But it was a little bit of concern all the way through Angola, and there was like I couldn't pay with card. Most places it was all cash based, and here in Rwanda is quite modern and very organized. And here I could pay with card yesterday at the petrol station, whereas in Uganda it's way more cash based. So there you just gotta make sure you have enough cash on you all the time. Yeah, but it's a little bit different from country to country whether they have card machines at the fuel stations, and even even in the supermarkets in Angola, I couldn't pay with my card, so that made things a little bit harder. But I would say when I think of back when I was 18 and I started traveling, I went on my first big trip when I was 18 to Australia for a year. And back then, it was like traveler's checks and stuff like that. I mean, that was way more complicated. So I think in general, things are relatively easy today. And I make sure that I always have a little bit of extra dollars on me that I kind of hide all kind of weird places. And so if I'm in a place where, nothing works, then I can always pay with a bit of dollars. So that works out quite well, I think. But that is something I actually get nervous about. Like I really don't like if I'm in a situation where I'm running out of cash, then I get quite tense and nervous about it. I don't like not to have data, and I don't like not to have cash. Those two things is just like, makes me uncomfortable. Cheers, everybody. So I think that things aren't too complicated when you want to travel in Africa, and I found so far actually even the border crossings are quite easy. It depends, of course, also where you go. The smaller the border crossings, the better I find. But then often at the big border crossings, they will have banks and ATM. M-Pesa. So Toto is asking if I use M-Pesa. No, I don't, because it requires that you set it up for each country. At least to my knowledge, I haven't tried it. But I will get a new SIM card for every country. And so, no, I don't get into the M-Pesa. So most of Africa is actually based or using these like mobile payment system, which is really, really smart. They pay all their bills with it. They get their salary on it's like mobile bank account, I guess, through the mobile company. And so it means if they're buying, in the grocery store, supermarket, anywhere, they can just pay with their mobile. So it's actually really, really cool. And you don't even need a smartphone to do it. So it works very well for the locals. I'd say everybody here has a phone. Everybody in Africa has a phone, but they don't necessarily have a smartphone. And it's a really good system. But I haven't gotten into that because you cross another border all the time. So to my knowledge, there isn't like a M-Pesa system that works cross-border, but I might be wrong. So Jens is writing Sylvester. What does that mean, Jens? Hi. What do you mean with Sylvester? Let me know what that comment was about. So Tutu, if you have other information about M-Pesa, let me know. I would really love to learn about that, how that works. Right now I'm quite excited about the whole shipping process from Mombasa to Oman, and right now in the process of applying for the visa for Oman. And yeah, it's gonna be exciting to do that with other bikers, um, and it's gonna be fun doing that. Jens, can you explain yourself? Because I don't get your messages. Sorry, maybe I'm slow. I don't know. um, yeah, so let me know. Any of you, are you like looking into traveling to Africa, or is that something that you find scary, or is it something that you would like to do one day? That'd be cool to hear, actually. Or are there places that you are just like nervous to travel to? I honestly find that the countries where um, so Oliver is writing, when are you coming to Zimbabwe? So the short answer is I'm not coming to Zimbabwe. Um, I Jens, you can't send link to other videos now in the middle of this live stream. So, anyways, as I was in South Africa, I wanted to cross into Zimbabwe, but at that point, Zimbabwe was still closed due to COVID. So I couldn't enter Zimbabwe. And then, as I got to Botswana, they opened up, but they still required PCR tests. And at that point, the other countries had skipped the PCR test requirements, and it was enough if you had the COVID vaccine. And I had the COVID vaccine times 3. So actually, I got a little bit annoyed with Zimbabwe. I'm sorry, because I really wanted to. Uh, I really wanted to visit Zimbabwe, and I feel that I really missed a huge experience there. So that is one thing that I'm definitely need to come back one day and ride in Zimbabwe. Yeah, I'm also gonna miss out on DRC. I'm gonna miss out on Ethiopia, South Sudan. Yeah, I think Jens might be a troll. So Toto is asking if Jens is a troll. I think he might be a troll. Yeah, or a robot, a computer or something. I don't know. Whatever. Or maybe he's just like super excited about New Year. Like still having a party. That would be awesome. I was actually lucky to have a New Year's party together with some Danish people. There's a Danish lady that I know through the motorcycle community in Copenhagen. She was in northern Uganda together with her boyfriend, who has a farm down here. So they invited me up there. So I went up to the northern part of Uganda, quite close to South Sudan, and spent my New Year's there. And they have a Honda CRF 250L, exactly like mine, standing there on the farm. So, and she's a very skilled rider, a super skilled off-road rider actually. So she and I, we took off and enjoyed some of the very sandy roads around the farm, and then we went through the Murchison's Falls National Park in northern Uganda together, which was so lucky that we even were allowed to do it, because you are no longer allowed to ride in national parks in Uganda unless you have a license for it. That only 3 companies in Uganda have that license, and one of them is UG Motorbike. It's a Dutch guy that runs a motorcycle adventure, like a tour company, and he has a license to take you into the parks, which is pretty goddamn cool. There's not a lot of countries where you're allowed to do it. There is a few places, like in South Africa, there is Addo Elephant National Park, where there's a public road that you're allowed to go through. Then there is like the Kafue National Park in Zambia. There is a public road as well that takes you through the park, and but mostly it's difficult to get into the national parks on a motorcycle. Samdisen, yes, license to national parks. So usually you can't get into the national parks where all the animals are, so the lions and the elephants and the rhinos, etc. But a few places you can do it, and Uganda has been until June last year one of the countries where you could ride your motorcycle. But since June last year, it's only 3 companies, motorcycle tour companies in Uganda that have license to enter those national parks. So that's that. Yeah, I hope that was clear. Yeah. And I mean, it's pretty cool to ride your motorcycle in those parks. It's a very special experience. The roads can be really bad and sandy, which is a challenge, and you have to go quite slow. And that can be a challenge too, especially if it's sandy. You actually need a bit of speed, and so I don't know. It's cool to do it on a bike. It is super cool. But then on the other hand, you can't really stop and look at the animals the same way that you can in a car. So yeah, you can't just stop and take photos. Whereas if you are in a car, you can stop all you want and just open your window and take photos of the animals. But on a motorcycle, it is a little bit, it's a bit complicated. Kato is writing no videos for Uganda Adventure. Do you mean Kato on my YouTube channel, or what do you mean? So Grant, yeah, you were shocked about the crocodiles. Yeah, I was also a little bit in shock. I was a bit in shock. But I'm not one to turn down a challenge. So when Ian in Livingston said, "Why don't you take your bike into the crocs?" I was like, okay. Kyoko, you like my adventure rides across Africa. Thank you very much. I like it very much too. It's quite amazing. Africa is such a cool continent. And it is, yeah, Kato, you are right. There are no videos for Uganda. So about the YouTube videos, it will usually take me like a full week to edit one video. So I would never be able to make a video from now. I will always make videos that are a little bit, from a little bit way back. And I don't have any videos from Swaziland or from Lesotho or from, I could just list a number, like so many countries where there's no videos yet, but they are coming. That's a promise. So stay tuned. Yes. Thank you for understanding. I'm here to travel mainly. So the YouTube video production is kind of add-on, and I never wanted this to become like work, but I actually really enjoy making the YouTube videos. But I don't want to stress about them. I want to enjoy it. And I want to mainly focus on traveling. And I'm also quite a social person. I like to meet up with people. I like to drink beer with Martin, who's sitting in there, and other people that I meet. So, I don't want to be traveling and then sitting in a hotel room working each night. So thank you for saying that. I also really like making the videos, actually, but as I said, I want to keep on like appreciating it and not really seeing it as work, but something that I enjoy doing. So yeah, I think that's the way ahead for me. And Toto likes beer too. Cheers, Toto. Thanks a lot for following. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, Grant. I'm really happy that you enjoy the videos, and I'm also really surprised about how many people are already following the YouTube channel and watching my videos. So Kato is asking how the border crossing was from Uganda to Rwanda. It was really, really nice, and I want to talk a little bit more about it. So it was very easy to check out of Uganda. There was almost no line. So first we went to customs, we checked our passports out, got the stamps that we needed. Then we went we started at immigration, and then we went to customs afterwards, and they knew what to do. They knew how to stamp the carnet de passage. Then I have to think now. We left the Ugandan side, and then before we could start the process on the Rwandan side, they wanted us to go through this I can't say that word. We needed to not carry Ebola with us into Rwanda. So we had to walk through this water, we had to wash hands, and they took our temperature because there's been some Ebola outbreak in Uganda. So obviously Rwanda wants to minimize that the disease is traveling to Rwanda. And then we started the Samdisen, you know exactly what I meant. Disinfection. Is that what is disinfection? Is that correct? Yeah, I think it is. Anyways, so then we went to customs. Yeah, thank you. And after that part, and that was pretty straightforward. So both Martin and I have the East African visa, which means that we didn't have to get a new visa in Rwanda. And then we went to customs, and the customs officer actually hadn't done the carnet before, so it was his first time. So I just kind of explained for him which part of the carnet that he had to rip off and take, and where he had to stamp, etc. He knew of a carnet, but he just hadn't processed it himself before. But he was really nice. There was no line, really. There was a bit of a line at immigration, but it was quite quick. And then we had to get like a little slip that we had to show at the gate before we really entered Rwanda. So that slip, we handed that to I guess he was like a police officer or something, and he just noted down our license plates and passport numbers and stuff like that, and then we were allowed to leave the border. So it took really, I would say, less than 1.5 hours in total. So it was quite quick. And then it was quite nice because when we got to the other side, there was like a community meeting for the local town. And it was like apparently in Rwanda, they have like a monthly meeting in each community. So every last Saturday of the month, there is a local community meeting where all the farmers and everybody can join. And there's a lot of like youth volunteers are there, and on these meetings, like really big meetings, they discuss all kind of important issues, unemployment, someone is missing housing, teenage pregnancies, and hello, Purity Kosa, and welcome. Thank you very much. So you just asked what is the scariest situation that I found myself in, and I'll get back to that question. So anyways, we arrived at this just at the beginning of this community meeting, and they were just dancing and singing, and we were welcome to join, and they brought us 2 chairs, and we sat down, and we were enjoying the dancing and singing. I was even like walking around filming, and there was these like farmer ladies with their farming tools that they brought, and they were just singing and dancing, and they were like actually happy that I was filming. It was really cool. And then there was this young guy who started explaining to us what was happening, who was speaking. So it was all like the local representatives were present. And there was even a lady present from the Senate. And she was talking about teenage pregnancies and other issues that they want to address. And I was really, really impressed with what was happening there. So that was really wonderful welcome to Rwanda. And then we just had a beautiful ride through this lush landscape, curvy roads, perfect roads. Absolutely no trash. This country is known to be very clean, and that is true. It's so clean, really. Um, yeah, it was just really beautiful. Um, so it went well. Uh, and back to the other question about what is the scariest situation I've been in. That was. I've had three situations where I was scared, and I'll try not to make it too long. But one was in Angola. I was at a small fishing town, quite remote. Okay, let me just reply to this other question first. Someone asked if there's a problem with the drone. It is a problem. And I try to be really respectful to the laws in each country. So if it's illegal to fly the drone, I will try to avoid flying it. But I still have the drone with me, so I will hide it and then just not fly it if it's not legal. Maybe sometimes I have unintentionally broken the law because maybe I thought I could fly it, but then I couldn't. So yeah, it's not my intention to break laws in any country, though. That's, yeah, what I have to say about that. So anyways, the scary situations. One time in Angola, I had a really scary situation at this little local fisher town. I was just filming and taking some photos, and there was a lot of people around me. Like they're always like everywhere you stop in Africa, there's people around you. Maybe except for Botswana and Namibia. And then there was a guy who started getting a little bit aggressive towards me, and he insisted that I give him my passport. And he was just, in civil clothing. He wasn't an officer or anything. So obviously I didn't want to give him anything. And I just pretended I didn't understand what he said because I didn't want a confrontation. So I just tried to, pack my stuff and get out of there. And he started getting quite aggressive and getting in between me and the bike, and he started like taking my helmet. And what was so weird was that we were surrounded by people and nobody interfered, which for me was really weird. Like I couldn't understand that all those other people allowed him to behave so badly towards me. He was really scary and he had a very bad body language. And so in the end, I managed to get out of there, but I was really nervous. And it's the first time where I actually thought of taking out my knife. And I'm really glad I didn't, because I think that would have escalated the situation to something super bad. Anyways, I got away from there. And then later the same evening, a young guy who had been there at the harbor and who found me on Instagram, he wrote me, and then I asked him, what was this guy doing? What was happening there? And he said that he was a young police officer, a local guy, and he was, on his day off. He was drunk for sure. And that's why nobody reacted, because of course this guy had too much power, so nobody dared to interfere. So that was, I couldn't understand what he wanted from me, and he had just this really super scary demeanor. And I was just like, fuck you. And I was so scared to drop the bike. There, it was very sandy and rocky, and I was like, oh my God, if I drop the bike now, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Another situation was in Germany. Someone tried to get into my room at night, and at 3 o'clock at night, and I was just so scared. And then another time, there was a situation in Morocco where a young guy got really, like he was, after I went to my tent and went to bed, he was hanging out like really close to my tent. And he just really scared me. And it wasn't until the next day that I realized that he was actually just trying to sell sex, because apparently there's a sex industry in, oh, sorry, There was a mosquito. So apparently there's a sex industry in Morocco where European women buy sex in Morocco. And yeah, he scared me a lot, and I think he needs to reassess his sales strategy, because like walking up to a woman in the dark after she's gone to bed in her tent might not be the smartest strategy if you want to sell a nice product. um, so Sam Deason is saying nothing that an Esbjørn person can't handle. Yeah, I agree. So there was a question before whether they went through my luggage at the border to Rwanda. Yes, they did look in the luggage. I don't know what he was really looking for. No, I'm still good. I have beer still. Thank you. I think they were checking for plastics and stuff, and I don't know, random stuff, but he just like looked into 2 bags and then he wasn't really interested anymore. So no, I didn't really get searched in that sense. So that was good. Yeah. Other than that, I'm sometimes a little bit scared when wild camping. Like it can be scary to be alone somewhere in the middle of the night in the nature, and you hear like loud animal noises, or there's like birds in the bushes or something. So that can be scary. But I tend to try and like deal with that fear, that mental fear, and I try not to really let that stop me from doing things I want to do. But I'm quite careful about where I wild camp. If there are people around, I don't wild camp. I only wild camp places where there are nobody. And otherwise, I will go like camp next to a church or in a village. I will ask the headman if I can camp there, or I will go to a campground. Or even many lodges here, at least in Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda, you can often camp next to a lodge. So then you just camp either on like their grassy parking area, or you camp in their garden or something, and then you pay maybe $10 or something for that. And they're like, it's not like there are like nice facilities for you, but it's nice and safe. And they're usually, almost all the places, they have like guards during the night, so you don't have to worry about your bike or anything. So yeah, that works pretty well. Yeah, so that's Africa for you. You need to be smart about it, says Sam Deason. I agree. So Jens Hönemann, he's still on about Sylvester. I don't know what that is. Someone is so totally obsessed with Sylvester in this chat. That's quite funny, actually. So at the moment, I've done 72,000 kilometers on the Honda. Toto, no, I'm not going to block anyone. Jens is totally welcome. So I've done 72,000 kilometers, and it's about 35 countries now. And I have no idea how many. I'm guessing I'm gonna hit at least 100,000 kilometers before I reach home, and it's really impressive how the Honda is performing. So Sam Deason is now asking about the amount of kilometers. So just to repeat myself, 72,000 kilometers on the Honda currently. And I've done quite a bit of service on her. I think I'm on tire set number 5 or 6. Maybe probably number 5. Sometimes I don't find like the perfect time to change the tires, but I will change them a little bit before it's really due. Yes, 72,000 kilometers on the Honda since I bought her exactly, let me see, 2 years and 9 months ago. Yeah. And a little bit of that was done in Denmark before I took off, but most of it was on this trip. Um, yeah, yes. So off we go is asking if we had a lot of coriander, and yeah, I was trying to like put a little bit of coriander stash into all our meals just to mess with Martin, because Martin apparently has a huge problem with anything coriander, and I love coriander. So yeah, I am trying to mess with him all I can. It's really nice to be traveling now with Martin for some days. After we do the Nile Congo Trail, I don't know if we're going to continue together. He is going to Kigali, to the capital of Rwanda, to meet some friends. So we will probably split up, and then we're going to try to meet up again and do the Lake Turkana in northern Kenya together. In the beginning, we both thought that we really couldn't do it, that it would be a little bit dangerous in that area. But after talking to locals living up there, I think we're both quite confident that it's not going to be a problem to do it. And I think we're quite excited to do that. So yeah, Lake Turkana is a huge dream for me to do that part of Africa, quite remote part of Kenya. And some tough riding as well, but I think it's gonna be pretty awesome. So that's exciting. Yeah, well, back to the Honda. I have 72,000 kilometers on it. I've done valve check 3 times. They're still within spec. I have done numerous oil changes. So in the service manual, the interval is 12,000 kilometers, and yeah, I've probably done it every 10,000 kilometers. So when I get back to Nairobi, I'm gonna do another oil check. So Grant is saying that it's fun to meet a friend on the road. Yeah, it's really, really fun. If it wasn't for the fact that Martin is just such a dork. So, no, he's really nice. And I really enjoy riding with him. I think that we have a little bit the same riding style as well. So we like to go fairly slow through the villages. We like to stop a lot. We like to talk to the locals. And he likes to ride off-road as well. He rides really remote places. I think he also rides a little bit tougher trails than I do. So let's see how I'm gonna keep up with him tomorrow. And yeah, it's really nice with company, especially someone who even rides the same bike as me. So you know, it's you have a good flow when you have the same power and the same max speed and everything. So that's really cool. And then also we quite often discuss, you know, things with the bike, what needs to be done. Right now, I think I need to service my suspension quite soon, and so Martin has reached out to Hyperpro in Holland to ask them, and yeah, so my suspension is in the need of a bit of TLC soon. I think when I get to Nairobi, I'm also going to change my chain and sprocket, because I have an extra set lying there waiting for me, and then I will do that, even if the set I have on now actually still have quite a bit of kilometers. But yeah, again, you know, to carry a set of chain and sprockets around is just way too much weight. So I think I'm just going to change it, and then that might do the 30,000 kilometers all the way home to Denmark, I think. So yeah. Any other questions that you have been so some season is asking, is it the back or front suspension? It is the back suspension that is in the need of a service. So Paul, Paul just sent a tip about Lake Turkana. Thanks a lot for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, Lake Turkana is an epic remote dirt road destination, which is going to throw all kinds of surface on us, like sand, rocks, all kinds of things. So that's going to be exciting to see how well we manage that with our 250s. And Martin and I have been talking about Lake Turkana for quite a while, and it's one of those places that I'm a little bit nervous to ride alone, simply because there's so far in between places where you can get any help. So it's also just like a little bit more fun to do stuff like that together with someone, so you're just less nervous and you enjoy it more, and not quite as cautious. So but I mean, we got to be careful. You know, anything can happen, and you don't want to have an accident in the middle of nowhere. So I think we're both gonna ride quite carefully for sure. I want to make it all the way to Denmark without any injuries, hopefully. Knock on wood. Yeah, and so my plan is to ride to then ride through the Middle East during spring, and then reach Turkey like early summer. Hello, Nido. Welcome. And I think that will be a really nice time of year. So maybe arrive in Turkey around June, and then do Europe in July on the way back to Denmark, and then arrive in Denmark early August. I think that will be kind of a good timing. But as you know, I am awfully slow. So yeah, I'm just hopefully slow, really. What can I do? I just enjoy being slow. I'm always impressed with people who like do so many countries in a few months. I'm like, oh my, wow, how do you do that? Like I just did like 2,000 kilometers. But I just stop all the time. I have to speak to everybody all the time, and yeah, that's just who I am. And we're all different. We all travel differently, and that's quite cool as well. And I think if I was traveling faster, I wouldn't be able to do it this long. It would just be so exhausting. So it works for me because I'm doing it so slow. Yeah. So anyways, this has been a lovely long live session. I think I'm gonna wrap it up now. If there's any last questions, then drop them now, and I will reply to them before we end this session. I'm so happy that you all joined me here on a Sunday evening. So Belle is writing, going places slowly is the way to go. Three-wheeling, yes, I agree. It's what I like to do, but we are all different. Thank you, Grant. Thanks for joining. It was really nice that you wanted to spend a few minutes of your Sunday evening together with me. Broken up, aufgebrochen. Thank you. And Bolin, stay safe. You too. Happy trails. Sam Deason, thanks a lot. And Ice-T is writing, traveling can be tiring. Yes, I agree. Sam Deason, tak for Himmerland. Thank you. Thanks for joining. It was very nice. And I'll see you guys next time. I actually really would like to do more live sessions, and I do want to announce them in advance, but it's hard because I never know if I have Wi-Fi. So we're gonna see how I do it. I might just pop up once again live like I did this time. Thank you, Per Arne. Thanks a lot. Thanks for following. Thank you, Kyoko. Thanks, everybody. It was really nice of you to join me tonight, and I'll see you on the road, hopefully. Bye.